welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing another tag video because I heart tag videos. I saw Karen Harris do this one quite recently, and it is the part-time YouTuber tag created by Monica AP. I will link both of their videos down below, so be sure to go and check out their answers as well. I'm not going to do a preamble today, with one minor exception. I do need to draw attention to my sweater because I'm in love with it and now I live in it. The sweater and I are one. It's from Gap. It is like the fluffiness of this cannot translate onto the camera, but it is cozy and soft and hot pink and I love it. So if I can find it again online, I will link it down below so that you guys can check it out as well in case you're interested. All right, with that out of the way, let's get into the questions. The first one is, what is your main gig? Do you work full-time? Are you a student, a parent? Spill the beans. So as most of you probably know, I am a mother. I have two kids. I have Aspen, who is 7.5, going on 13, and I have Bennett, who is 2.5, and I'm pretty sure he's actually just a feral animal who happens to live in my house. Toddlers, am I right? Those kids are my entire world and I would do anything for them. They bring so much joy to my life and they fill my heart like nothing I ever expected when we decided to have kids. So they're my world. I love them forever and a day. In terms of working, as most of you also know, I am a lawyer by trade. So I am a family lawyer. I deal with separation, divorce, custody issues, access issues, child support, spousal support, property division, all that super fun, sexy, heartwarming stuff. I own my own law firm with a business partner. We have an associate lawyer. My husband Barry works for us as a law clerk, and we also have an additional clerk. So it keeps me very busy. Having said that, I work on an office sharing rotation. So every third day I'm technically scheduled out of the office and I don't work from home. So on those days off, it's free time for me. If, however, I do have a court date scheduled or if I have like a four-way settlement meeting or anything of that nature, I will attend it on those days. Day off be damned. So that time is still up for grabs. It just depends on how the scheduling of different things works. Question 2 is, what made you want to start YouTube? And honestly, I think it was just the love of makeup. I really do. I was a long time YouTube watcher before I ever got up the nerve to start my own channel. I wanted to do it for years and just could not pull the trigger on it. I was far too scared, far too nervous, just could not do it. So it was September of 2017 when I finally decided, screw it, we're gonna do this. And that is when I started this channel. And it was the love of makeup. I enjoy talking about it, I enjoy hearing about it, and there's only so many people in my circle that give as much of a crap about makeup as I do. I mean, Barry does his best to listen to me, but I don't think he really cares all that much, to be honest. So it was just a way to connect with other people who share a similar interest, and I don't regret it one bit. And I know in my live chats and in other live chats that I have joined, there are people that are saying, you know, I'd like to start one, but I'm too scared and all of that kind of thing. And all I can say to people who are thinking about starting a channel is just start. There's so many amazing, wonderful, kind, supportive people out on the internet, and they far outweigh the negative Nancy's. So whatever you're scared of, it's probably not going to happen. And if it does, so say you get a crappy comment, it's going to be in a sea of positive comments. So that's my 2 cents on it. I encourage anybody, if you have the interest and you have the passion and the drive to do it, just dive in and start. And you'll have a ton of fun. You'll have a lot more fun than you think you will, and you'll meet more amazing people than you think you will. At least that's been my experience. On to the third question, which is, what is your channel about? Do you stick to one niche or do you cover a few? And I would say that I am very much predominantly a makeup channel. So talking about new items, doing product reviews, doing the odd tutorial, all of that kind of thing is what you're mostly going to find on my channel. I do have other videos regarding life after bariatric surgery. I'm running a series right now of divorce in December, and I do have a smattering of things that are sort of outside of my typical content. So there are some commentary type videos, although I don't consider myself to be a commentary channel, but I do like to just sort of step away from the makeup every now and then, talk about something outside of my comfort zone or outside of the beauty world, and then come back to my main drive, which is makeup. All right, the fourth question is, did you always know YouTube would be a side gig, or do you ever want to be a full-time YouTuber? I think I went into it thinking like if I could ever get monetized, that would be just so cool. And thankfully this year, much earlier this year, I did reach that sort of level. And I don't make a ton of money at all off my channel. In fact, I spend more in a month than I receive from it. So it's a terrible investment at this point. In terms of becoming a full-time YouTuber, I just don't see myself ever leaving my career. I mean, you never know what the future holds. If somehow my channel like blew way up and it became self-sustaining and provided me with the same amount of income as I make from my job, maybe I would reconsider at that point. But I've worked damn hard to get where I am in my career, and I'm not doing this channel in an effort to replace that. I think I would have a very, very hard time walking away from my career. There are days, trust me, there are days where I would love to just be a button pusher in a factory. Buttons don't talk back. But, you know, I did 5 years of undergraduate, I did 3 years of law school, I articled for a year, I did all the grunt work as an associate, I've now opened up my own firm. I just don't see myself walking away from that. I have 11 years of practice under my belt. I don't see myself walking away from that anytime soon. It would have to be really compelling in order to make me seriously consider it. So, side gig it is. All right, the next question is, what is your schedule like? When do you film? When do you edit? So as I mentioned, I do have days off in the week. So depending on the week, I either have 1 or I have 2 scheduled days off. Again, sometimes things will come up and I'll have a court date, so I'm at court all day rather than out of the office doing whatever I want. But on the days where I am out of the office doing whatever I want, those are the days that I film. So I will take care of errands in the morning around the house or do whatever grocery shopping and meal prep and all that kind of crap that needs to be done most days, not every day. And then I come down and I film. So I try to film 2 to 3 videos at any given time. So a lot of times you will see the same makeup look over and over again in a series of videos. I do usually switch up the lipstick and sometimes I'll switch up the shirt, but I'm not trying to fool you guys. Like, it is what it is if I'm wearing the same makeup, but there's different content and I'm saying different things and talking about different things. I don't feel like people are gonna get like super stressed about that. You know what I mean? So that is when I film. In terms of editing, I usually do that at night after the kids go to bed. The next question is, how do you keep your YouTube channel organized? Do you plan videos ahead or just film what you feel like? It's a little bit of A, a little bit of B. I am not organized enough to do like a script for a video in advance. So even when I'm doing sort of commentary style videos, I don't script it out. I just don't find that it comes across as very genuine. Like, if I'm trying to remember what I've written, or if I'm constantly looking down and then looking up and just reading off a page, it doesn't come across, like there's no easy flow to it. It's not genuine. So there have been times where I've made like notes for myself. Like when I'm reviewing certain products, I will research the product in advance so that I know like the price of it and all that kind of stuff. When I have done some commentary stuff, so for example, it wasn't necessarily commentary, it was more of a parody. I did a parody of one of the Jaclyn Hill videos back in the summer, and I made notes of her video so that I knew sort of the flow of where to go with it. But again, it wasn't scripted, it was all ad-libbed, but there was that assistance of like at least knowing the timeline of what her video was so that I could recreate it appropriately and not jump all over the place. I'm a great list writer. I enjoy writing like to-do lists. Whether or not I actually do the things on those lists, totally different story. But I find that just writing lists really just puts my mind at ease. So I will write lists of video ideas and just have them all written out. And then the days when I go to film, sometimes I know in advance what it is that I want to do. Like I knew that I was going to do this tag before I sat down to film. But some days I'm just kind of like, yeah, I don't want to do that tag, so I'm going to do something else. And I just kind of wing it. So it's a little bit of A, a little bit of B. I certainly don't have like weeks of content in advance planned out or anything like that. That's too much work. I actually find it incredibly difficult even just to stick to an upload schedule. That's something I'd really like to do, but life is so unpredictable that I have a very, very difficult time doing that. A kid gets sick, I get called into court on an emergency motion, anything can happen, and you just never know what the day's gonna bring, so I have a really hard time committing to specific upload schedules. All right, on to the next question, and that is, how do you feel about sponsored videos on YouTube? Have you / would you ever do one on your channel? I don't have an issue with sponsored videos in and of themselves. What I have an issue with is when people try to manipulate their audience by not disclosing that they're doing a sponsored video. And again, it depends on the YouTuber. So people that I trust their opinions of and people who have a good track record of being open and honest, particularly when it comes to sponsorships, if I know they're doing a sponsored video, I'm not going to get my nose out of joint. What am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is that I'm not cynical on sponsored videos when people are open and upfront about the fact that it is sponsored. I can get a little questionable if all somebody does is sponsored videos, because we don't all love everything. You know what I mean? So when people are just nothing but positive reviews about certain products and there's no critical thought to it or no sort of critique of the product, I start to get a little suspicious at that point, because like I said, we don't all love everything. So there's a little bit of a balance there. For myself, I would do a sponsored video. I have not in the past. I have received product from brands. I have disclosed that when I have done the videos, but I've never entered into a contract with a brand. I've never been paid by a brand. I've never had anything of that kind of nature in terms of sponsorship. I would do it if I was allowed to be myself and if I was allowed to be thoroughly honest about the product. So if a contract was presented to me and I was given the talking points, not just the guidelines and not just like information, but like given a script and told that that's what I had to say and I'm not allowed to deviate from it, even if I love the product, I'm not going to accept that, because again, as I was saying earlier about reading from a script, it's not going to come across as natural to you guys. It's not going to be my same pattern of speech. It's not going to have my own quirky It's not going to have my own idiosyncrasies to it. It just isn't going to come across as me, and you guys are going to pick up on that, and there's no point in doing something like that. If I love a product, I want to be trusted enough by the brand to share that with you in my own way. Does that make sense? And rest assured, if I had a sponsorship, I would tell you guys that it was a sponsorship and let you decide from there what you do with that information. Going back to my earlier point of just be honest, I don't understand why people try to hide these sponsorships. What are you ashamed of? What are you afraid of? It suggests to me, we're going like wildly off topic here, but it just suggests to me that if people are trying to hide the fact that something is sponsored, that they probably don't feel the way about the product as they're saying they do. Does that make sense? Like, why not just be open about it? Like, why not just say, this is a sponsored video, but FYI, this product is the tits. Like, they don't have to be mutually exclusive. I think I'm talking myself into circles here. Suffice it to say, I don't think sponsored videos are bad as long as they're disclosed. I would do one as long as I'm allowed to be honest. That really just could have been the answer. Anyways, we are on to the last question, and that is, what do you think is the biggest challenge of doing YouTube part-time? I mean, the biggest challenge that I face is keeping myself on track and keeping myself productive with it. So while it's nice to say that I film on my days off, there are days where I really do have to like kick my butt downstairs in order to do that, because I do just want to take a nap or just do nothing. Editing can be fun, but it can also be like a really time-consuming and tedious task depending on what it is that I'm editing. So when I know I have like 45 minutes of footage that I need to go through, that 45 minutes is going to take at a minimum an hour and a half to edit, at a very minimum, likely more than that. So it's just a huge task to sit down to, and that can be where I get like a little resistant, where I'm like, but it's so much easier just to watch TV. But I just kind of kick myself through that. The other challenge, I think, is just trying to balance it all in terms of what social media entails. So it's not just the filming, it's not just the uploading, it's responding to the comments, because that's why I do this. I don't do it just to put a video up. I do it to get to know you guys and to chat with you guys. And I don't always have time to respond to the comments. So sometimes, I don't know if you guys can tell or not, but what I do is I go into my studio, and I will, like my YouTube studio, and I will spend like an hour just responding to comments. So you won't hear anything from me for like a day or two, and then there's this like wave of responses that I send back. And that's because it's important to me to respond to them. So even when I can't like type out the answer, I at least like and heart each video or each comment, as long as they're not crappy. But that's the thing. So I read every comment, but I don't always have an opportunity to respond to it. Sometimes they get lost in the shuffle because what I see on my phone isn't what I see on my YouTube studio on my computer. Sometimes things get lost in spam for whatever reason. So some things get through the cracks. So if I ever miss your comments, if I don't heart it, if I don't like it, if I don't respond, it isn't personal, I promise. It's just that it has slipped through the cracks and I literally haven't seen it. So I think just trying to balance all those things and trying to maintain a presence and trying to gain traction. I sometimes get a little frustrated with the rate of my growth. So just trying to keep in mind, like, this is just a part-time gig, and it genuinely doesn't matter what my growth rate is, because I'm not trying to build it to 1 million subscribers so that I can quit my job and just do YouTube. So sometimes there's a bit of like that mental thing with it as well. Emotional, I guess, is more appropriate than mental, but you know what I mean? And those are the challenges that immediately come to mind. I'm sure there's others, but those are the ones that immediately come to mind. That's it. That's the tag. I'm not going to tag anybody in specific here, but if you wish to answer these questions, I would be more than happy to watch your video. So if you do it, let me know in the comments down below and I will hop over and check it out. Other than that, thank you as always for taking the time to watch, and I will see you in my next video. Until then, just be a decent human being. Bye for now.